Hey there guys, it's Greg from Beastie Geeks, and in this video I want to show you Chronicles of Drunagor. Drunagor is a very fresh game. It's reached backers or is reaching them now, and what I know, the new expansion will be on Kickstarter soon, so I think it's a great opportunity now to talk about the base game and show you more what that title can offer. Drunagor is a story-driven dungeon crawler game, so it's focused on a story and at the same time on a battle and exploring dungeons. So let's dig in and let's check out what this game can offer.
We still have plenty of scenarios to beat, plus we want to avoid any spoilers. However, we feel quite confident to share with you our view on the game's plot and narration. When a general story uses plenty of fantasy cliches, yet we have those big mysteries we are trying to reveal through the campaign, and we encounter some less obvious elements enriching the lore. I have to praise the writing style here, very cohesive, engaging, properly balancing length of descriptions and action parts, and quite dynamic in general. There is always a big wall of text before and even after most of the scenarios, yet reading them is not exhausting like in other games from this genre. Not only story but art design of game's components works in favor of immersion as well. We genuinely love heroes design, especially the duo of vampire Shadow Knight and female druid I'm playing. But what I appreciate more is tiles design. They are far from random generic locations. Everything is connected to the story, and we have plenty of bigger and smaller elements like statues, chests and levers you actually encounter during the campaign. And now we can go to our two favorite story connected elements here. How to make something like doors fun, very interactive and immersive. Write mid-scenario events on them, launching them when you open the door. It works awesome, it doesn't disturb the flow of the scenarios, and it looks good as well. Second aspect we love are interactive visual albums, similar to something we encounter when playing Nova Aeta's prototype. During the chapter you can interact with some stuff on the board, and in many cases it means opening the corresponding page in the album and choosing one of the options. It's a super smooth solution and it's highly immersive. The only remark we have about the story is the fact that choices you make during the campaign are not impacting it in any serious way. Story is very linear, with just options to undertake extra chapters from the expansions, and choices you make give you mostly small boosts and penalties without impacting the game's world. The creative game studio team designed almost flawless dungeon crawler mechanics. Every tiny mechanic is well thought, properly connected with everything else, and everything here matters. Initiative order, positioning yourself on the board, order of skills you use, decisions when to defend yourself or when not, enough statuses like burn and poison to keep you engaged, everything works. For attacks you roll only d12, and for some, damage is predefined. Monster attacks are also defined from the top. Dice solution balances the tension and luck with a ton of strategy thinking. Activating your skills is done by using colorful cubes covering those skills until you make a recall action. However, doing recall too often, just to get access to your favorite skill more often, punish you with the black curse cubes. Too many of them and the scenario is lost. This solution provides an extra level of strategy and some options to leave the curse, or some classes using curses in their favor only spice up the game. Another thing forcing you to keep forward and dictating the pace of the game are darkness tokens, spreading around the board, dragging your health and lowering your accuracy. Drunagor introduces plenty of smart mechanics and solutions, serving as very deep strategic game. But the best part of the gameplay is how the design team managed to fit so many stuff without overcomplicating the game. We have plenty of simplifications, and each of them does not compromise the game's deepness. For example, line of sight for you and monster is simply everything within the range. Do you remember super complicated enemies AI in Gloomhaven? Here in Drunagor, monsters always follow and target the player who has the most health points at the moment of the activation. It's simple, but it also works flawlessly. My personal favorite thing in Drunagor is managing and developing our heroes. You pick your class among plenty of D&D classic and each of them gives you two options to choose from. So for example, your druid could be a guy focusing on ice attacks, or a halfling having more use of summons. Each board here is insanely asymmetric. You get your own, using Final Fantasy analogy, limit breaks, and 16 of unique skills separated into 4 different categories. Up to this, you have to pick your role within a team, so the defender will get access to extra skills allowing him to be the team's tank, where leader boosts accuracy and allows to command other heroes between their turns. In total you get over 20 skills where only one is the same for everybody, and 10 of them are waiting to be unlocked during the campaign. Do you need more? You get also a unique class sheet with another 12 traits representing 4 different paths you can follow, significantly changing your playstyle. And up to this, you could even use a multi-class system. There are no obstacles for your mage being an assassin as well. And the best part in that is the fact, with all of that variety and dozens of skills, also some of them coming from items, the game is not overwhelming at all. Heroes management in Drunagor is the top one among all of the crawlers we have on the market. Components quality is great, everything is functional and game trays are brilliant. However, personally I'm not the biggest fan of Drunagor miniatures. Cast is not always as clear as I want it to be, and some monsters look quite similar to each other, and sometimes they are even a bit shapeless. Heroes look better and were designed more carefully, but the problem is some miniatures are not similar to the version on the player's boards. And for example, I find my Vampire Knight miniature only in the way of eliminating any other miniature, and I demand my Dragon Pet. My Druid has a mini for all of its summons, but my Vampire has only a token. So for now I'm using a pet from Black Rose Wars instead. Of course the Undead King looks the best from the bunch, but he's still just okay. If not better cast, then probably more dynamic poses would help here. Also, the variety of monsters without the add-ons is below average. But devs made a few different cards for every type of monster, so this topic is somewhat addressed. Manual is long as hell, but it's written really good. It has easy, clear language, plenty of examples, index, statuses and skills glossary, and all we want to see in the comprehensive, complete rulebook for the dungeon crawler. Yes, we get some typos and a little bit of inconsistency between some rules, but they are peanuts mostly. We all know much bigger developers serving much more mistakes and errors in the first edition of the games. A lot of your tactics and strategies should depend on the interaction with other players. Your position on the board to block other monsters, order of your initiative, auras affecting other players, healing, cleansing, and many other stuff could be used on other players. Many of it is the part of the role you have chosen for your hero. By playing with only 2 heroes, you are going to miss a lot of fun coming from the interaction and roles. Perfectly would be to operate 4 or even 5 heroes to have covered all game's roles. Knowing this, each of us plays the game using 2 heroes, and the only role we do not have in the team is the controller. We obviously appreciate 3D elements within the game, but we are hungry for more. Game is missing some terrain effects, more obstacles and traps. Currently, in 90% of cases you will reach most of the monsters in the new room during one turn, and almost every monster will reach you as well. Definitely we are missing Gloomhaven solutions in this aspect. Also, special conditions of the scenarios and rooms are a bit less crazy than in the old Destiny, for example. This aspect is better the later on you are in a campaign, so maybe the second part of it would surprise us with more creative scenarios and room conditions. Chronicles of Drunagor Age of Darkness is an incredibly good dungeon crawler with one of the best gameplays we have ever seen. Despite some mentioned complaints, we fell in love with the gameplay and heroes management, plus the game is above average when it comes to the immersion within dungeon crawlers. From us, Drunagor gets 8.5 scratches out of 10 possible and our mark of recognition. That's all for today, see you at the next game, and if you enjoy our content and honest approach to the games, subscribe to our channel and join us on Patreon.